Categories of the learning theories, that is for B.Ed, D.Ed, pre-primary teacher training courses. The four main categories of the learning theories: cognitive learning theory, behaviorism learning theory, constructivism learning theory, connectivism learning theory. Why to study learning theory? No two students are alike, and the way every person learns is very. Our brains are all unique, and our experiences all contribute to the different ways we learn. Psychologists have spent countless hours performing tests to better understand how students learn. Current and aspiring teachers need to be educated to be prepared for teaching students every day. And an important part of the teacher education is understanding different ways of learning. There are many solidified learning theories that teachers can learn from as they prepare to help students in the classroom. Teachers who understand learning theories can use different techniques in their classrooms to clear to, to cater different kinds of the learning. This can help all the students find success in learning. First one is cognitive learning theory. What is meant by cognitive? Cognitive understanding is interesting learning theory that focuses on thought. Cognition encourages students to think about their thinking as the means to help them unlock the concept or the subject they struggle with. Cognitive learning can help boost learner engagement and motivation as it gives them a new way to look at themselves and their brain. Cognition is key to unlocking impactful knowledge and brain power for learners, increasing their skills. This guide will dive deeper into this theory, and help teachers learn how to utilize it in their classroom. To understand cognitive learning theory, it is important to learn the term metacognitism. Metacognitism is awareness of your brain's thoughts and thought process. This concept of knowing how to think is a basic basis for cognitive learning theory. This theory on cognition asks learner to look at the thinking and mental process and how cognitive thinking can be influenced by external and internal factors. If your cognitive processes are working normally, it's easier to learn. But if something is off with the cognitive process, difficulties can ensue. The cognitive theory has an interesting and unique history. Plato, Descartes are two of the first philosophers who dive deeply into the theory of cognitive behavior and knowledge. Their ideas about the knowledge and behavior spurred further thoughts on the cognition. Researchers and psychologists like Wilhelm Wundt, William James, John Dewey, John Watson, and many other all researched and explored how mind and thought works. Jean Piaget is highly looked into the field of the cognitive psychology for his research and insight on the internal structures, knowledge, and environment. Piaget is also known for his development levels that break down ages and comprehension abilities. All psychologists have come over time, and things like invention of the computer have dramatically impacted how we understand the brain. As we are able to actively look at the brain, we have a much better comprehension of it. Comprehension means knowledge. Cognitive learning theory has adjusted and adapted as we learn over time, and every step in learning about this process is impactful in helping people every single day. Cognitive learning theorist Plato, Descartes, Wilhelm Wundt, William James, John Dewey, John Watson, Jean Piaget. Cognitive learning activities. These are the activities conducted in the classroom. Teachers can try some cognitive learning activities to increase the learning opportunities for their students. Some activities teachers can try in the classroom are here. Make a game of memorizing poetry or a facts. Write a journal entry that asks students to think about what they learned that day or a week. Students can demonstrate work in front of the class. Have students create their own learning game as they work to master facts or the subject. Ask students to explain problem to other students and teach it to them. Put a list of the questions to the board and have students answer them to learn about their thought process. Second one is behaviorism learning theory. Every teacher knows that they will usually have a students in the classroom who is difficult to manage and work with. Their behavior is usually hard to control, and it can be extra work to get them to pay attention and stop distracting others. If you are studying to become a teacher, your course will help to learn classroom management techniques that will prepare you for difficult students. Additionally, it's extremely valuable to learn about learning theories and recognize that there are different methods and thoughts about how people learn. Behaviorism or behavioral learning theory is a popular concept that focuses on how students learn. Behaviorism focuses on the idea that all behaviors are learned through interaction with the environment. This learning theory states that behaviors are learned from the environment and says that innate or inherited factors have very little influence on the behavior. The common example of behaviorism is positive reinforcement. The student gets a small treat if they get 100% on their spelling test. In future, students work hard and study for their test in order to get the reward. Behaviorism is key for the educators because its impact how students react and behave in the classroom and suggests that teachers can directly influence how the students behave. It also helps teachers understand that students' home environment and lifestyle can be impacting their behavior, helping them see it objectively and work to assist with improvement. Theorists who worked on the behaviorism: Pavlov, J.B. Watson, B.F. Skinner. Third theory is constructivism theory. Constructivism is important learning theory that educators use to help their students learn. Constructivism is based on the idea that people actively construct and make their own knowledge, and that reality is determined by your experience as a learner. Basically, learners use their previous knowledge as a foundation and build on it with the new things that they learn. So, everyone's individual experiences make their learning unique to them. Constructivism is crucial to understand as an educator because it influences the way all your students learn. Teachers and instructors that understand the constructivist learning theory understand that their students bring their own unique experiences to the classroom every day. Their background and previous knowledge impacts how they are able to learn. Educators are able to use constructivism learning theory to help their students understand their previous knowledge. If you are a current or aspiring educator, it's important to get education and credentials you need. But it's also important to understand learning theories and how they impact you and your students. This guide will tell you more about constructivist learning theory and how it helps you as a teacher. Principles of constructivism. There are many specific elements and principles of constructivism that shape the way the theory works and applies to students. Learn about the different principles of constructivism and how they make up the whole theory. Knowledge is constructed. It is a basic principle, meaning that the knowledge is built upon other knowledge. Student takes pieces and put them together in their own unique way, building something different than that another student will build. Students' previous knowledge, experiences, beliefs, and insights are all important foundations for their continued learning. People learn to learn as they learn. Learning involves constructing meaning and systems of meaning. For example, if a student is learning a chronology of the dates for a series of the historical events, at the same time they are learning the meaning of the chronology. If the student is writing paper about history, they are also learning principles of the grammar and writing as well. Each thing we learn gives a better understanding of the other thing in the future. Learning is an active process. Learning involves sensory input to construct meaning. The learner needs to do something in order to learn. It's not a passive activity. Learner need to engage in the world, so they are actively involved in their own learning and development. You can't just sit and expect to be told things and learn. You need to engage in discussions and reading activities, etc. Learning is social activity. Learning is directly associated to our connections with the other people, our teachers, our family and peers, and our acquaintances impact our learning. Educators are more likely to be successful as they understand that peer involvement is key in learning. Isolating learning isn't the best way to help the students learn and grow together. Progressive education recognizes that social interaction is key to learning, and they use conversation and interaction and group applications to help the students retain their knowledge. Learning is a contextual. Students don't learn isolated facts that theories separate from the rest of our lives. We learn uh, in ways connected to things we already know, what we believe, and more. The things we learn and the points we tend to remember are connected to the things going on around us. Contextual means situational, depending on the situation. Learning is a situational. We learn from the events or the situations occur around us. Knowledge is a personal, because constructivism is based on your own experiences and beliefs, and the knowledge becomes personal affair. Each person will have their own prior knowledge and experiences to bring to the table, so the way and the thing people learn and gain from the education will all be very different. Learning exists in the mind. Hands-on experiences and physical actions are necessary for learning, but those elements aren't enough. Engaging the mind is to key successful learning. Learning needs to involve activities for the minds and not just our hands. Mental experiences are needed for retaining knowledge. Motivation is keys to learning. Students are unable to learn if they are unmotivated. Educators need to have ways to engage and motivate learners to activate their minds and help them be excited about the education. Without motivation, it's difficult for learners to reach into their past experiences and make connections for new learning. Fourth is connectivism learning theory. It is a new theory. Connectivism is relatively new learning theory that suggests the student should combine thoughts, theories, and general information in the useful manner. It accepts that technology is a major part of the learning process and that our constant connectedness gives us opportunities to make choices about our learning. It also promotes group collaboration and discussion, allows for different viewpoints and perspectives. When it comes to decision making, problem solving, and making sense of information, connectivism promotes learning that happens outside of an individual, such as through social media, online networks, blogs, and information databases. Connectivism was first introduced in 2005 by two theorists, George Simons and Stephen Dance. Simons' article Connectivism Learning as a Network Creation was published online in 2004, and Down's article, An Introduction to Connective Knowledge, was published the following year. The publications address the important role technology plays in learning process and how the digital age has increased the speed at which students have access to the information. Since then, both the Simons and the Downs have continued to write and speak on the subject. However, each has slightly different viewpoints. While Simons tend to focus on the social aspects of the connectivism, Downs focuses on the non-human appliances and machine-based learning. Connectivism learning theorist George Simons and Stephen Downs. Thank you.